Hey everyone, welcome to Automation, or welcome back to Automation. It's been 2 weeks, as it always has been, and the last video was quite successful, so thank you for that. We're going to be getting back into things today with a bit of a test. So you might know that Automation is coming up with some new updates soon, and that means this current version of Automation will eventually disappear. But in this current version of Automation, what is 1000 horsepower in a V8 like versus 1000 horsepower in an inline 4? Both of them tested in this Datsun I made earlier in the year. Let's give it a try. So I just wanted to show you what's going on with the car. Steel, monocoque steel. It's not a super high performance vehicle by any means. Rear wheel drive, simple stuff. Let's start with the V8. So there are a lot of different factors that can go into 1000 horsepower in an engine, and making one with a 4-liter V8 is actually going to be easier than making one with an inline 4, even if it's the same displacement. It's just kind of how it works in this game. But I'm going to set some standards for myself in order to simplify this test. There are way too many factors to be able to fit this all into one video. We'd have to do multiple engines and multiple variants and all that kind of thing. Let's keep it simple. I'm going to do a 90-degree V8 cast internals, and just for fun, I'm going to average out the V8 size to be about 5 liters, something like that, and it's going to be roughly square. And I'm doing that on purpose because if I have a higher stroke or a higher bore, it's going to affect the torque rating. So we're going to go for a 5-liter V8 just as an average size for what a V8 might be. There we go. That's a little bit closer to 5 liters. 5005 cc's. In order to make this competition fair, I'm going to keep similar stats between the two engines, including the heads and valves and that kind of thing. With the i4, we might struggle a little bit to get up to the power I want, but we're going to be able to use quality sliders and turbos, cough cough, to make the difference. But let's just go for a classic pushrod V8, 5 liters, cast everything, and yeah, cast internally for now too. I'll have to come back to all this stuff to make our 1000 horsepower. We're almost definitely going to need turbos for this, but I'm going to try without first and we'll come back and see. Yeah, right off the hop we're making 272 horsepower out of our 5-liter V8. That's really not that bad, 400 newton meters of torque. I mean, it's a little bit low, all things considered, but with a tune, I'm sure we can do more. So let's just hit the tune button and see what happens. That's 296, not bad at all. A little bit extra RPM, and probably going to be ruining some, yeah, the crank is having problems. This is a pushrod engine, so naturally it's not going to be able to rev as high as it could if it was not pushrods. Let's go forged steel, and we get a little bit extra out of it, just a little bit. Okay, naturally 300 horsepower just off the hop is not gonna cut it, so let's put some boost into her. We're gonna try single turbo first, but as you can see, it's already immediately having problems. Something is exploding, everything's exploding. Man, it's been a while since I attempted to make a decent turbo engine. Everything is destroying itself. AI, please fix this for me. 602 horsepower, that's a little bit closer to the goal that I was looking for with a single turbo. Pistons and everything else having problems. Let's up the quality of those. Again, in order to keep things reasonable, I'm going to go for 0 stress, at least if I can. So because I'm running no mufflers or catalytic converters, this thing is basically a fire-breathing earth destroyer, which is excellent. In-game at least. We pretend to kill the earth now. You know, a lot of games are actually based on exploding stuff. Like, I think there's a reason for that. Everybody just wants to blow something up. I am definitely in that category. I'm so tempted to hit the 2 turbos button, but we can't get 2 turbos on a 4-cylinder, so it doesn't make total sense if we want to keep things similar. Basically, we're darn close. Let's go VVT. Hopefully that'll help a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it helped a little bit. Am I going to have to run ethanol to get this thing to actually do it? E85 it is, boys. I guess that's the only way. 818 horsepower. Please and thank you. 1,078 newton meters of torque. That's a lot. That is nothing to sneeze at. I also went ahead and upped the quality of everything to +5. Probably have to do a little bit more than that too. Basically what I'm doing is just back and forth. Little changes, AI tune, more changes, AI tune. Yeah, just getting closer. 950, I'm almost there. That's 1170 newton meters. 6,000 RPM is the limit, by the way, for the power. We'll have to keep these numbers in mind when we do the 4-cylinder, because it's going to be drastically different. There we go. That's exactly 1,000 horsepower, 1,193.9 newton meters of torque at 6,100 RPM. In order to get this to happen, I had to increase the turbine exducer size, almost an extruder. Exducer size. Basically, we need to change the compressor size in order to get more power, but we're losing bottom end. Not saying that this thing has no bottom end. It's got great torque at 2,000 RPM, but it just goes way up from there. So it's going to be a good engine, I think. This will be a decent one. I'm very, very excited to see this thing run. Single turbo V8. Oh yeah. All right. Engine 1, done. Boys, once again, I'm looking pretty rough these days. Let's smooth things out with today's sponsor, Henson Shaving. Save yourself some money with Henson Shaving's AL13, the last razor you'll ever need. Its machined aluminum handle is made to aerospace standards. If it's good enough for flight, it's good enough for your face. Pick up yours today with the link in the description. Use my code for a free pack of 100 blades with your purchase. Just be sure to add them to your cart and throw Automotive Flux into the coupon box. Every purchase supports the channel and my Project Car Fund, so thank you. Also, thank you to Henson for consistently sponsoring this channel and supporting me and also my various endeavors. A smooth face means a delicate touch for those who need it most. I know this girl appreciates it, even if she doesn't know it yet. I'm almost as soft as she is. Okay, not really, but I can dream. To give you a bit of a break from engine building, because that's kind of what this video is focused on, we're going to take this Datsun. I'm going to change it to a hard top, I think. Although the convertible part is really cool, this is just something to differentiate it. And we'll change the color. I absolutely love orange. It is my favorite color, but I need to make this slightly unique. So our yellowish color will be the V8, and then I'll just pick something random for the 4-cylinder. So this is the part where I was really debating what I should do. Should I try and do the gearing as well? Because gearing has a huge difference. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get the spacing and stuff to be similar. The top speed is probably a lot higher than it says it'll do. Yeah, it'll say it'll do 405, so we should probably increase this to approximately that. But I want to keep the gearing very similar between these two vehicles. Otherwise, it's just not gonna... well, it just won't be fair. This is not a scientific test in the slightest, but I don't know. I'm just trying to keep things at least a little bit organized. And for spacing, I'm just going to leave it at 50, but we'll just have the top speed changed in order to make this more reasonable. I'm going to keep the tires the same on both, and they're just going to be the base tires that come with this car. I am going to up it to a viscous LSD. This thing's 1960, by the way, so grip is going to be a major challenge. Let me just see. Okay, good. We're running semi-slicks, and they're as big as they can be. Wheel spin is going to be a problem, but that is to be expected. Everything else in here is just going to stay exactly the same as it was when I created this car originally. And yeah, there you go. That's the V8 version. Okay, so I've gone ahead and cloned the car that we just made, although I did add windows to it, so you didn't see that, but just a little bit of a difference to make things better. Let's go ahead and make a new engine for it. This one is going to be the 1,000 horsepower inline engine. So inline 4, keeping it cast, keeping it pushrod, keeping it cast. You're probably wondering what displacement this engine is going to be, and now that I realize how difficult it was to get 1,000 horses out of a V8, surprisingly so, I should probably also up this to 2020 to give us the best chance we can get. I'm going to make this a 2.2 liter, and we will see if that's enough. We may have to increase the size of it. I just want to get like an average size for a 4-cylinder, and 2.2 is pretty average. It might be a little bit big depending on what country you're from. There you go, exactly 2.2 liters. Let's try and make this thing into a 1,000 horsepower monster. I can tell already we're going to need some of this stuff. Otherwise, this just ain't going to work. And again, from our last experience, it probably should have VVT. It's definitely going to need a turbo, smart boost, all the good stuff that we can get on there. And to keep things fair, I'm going to be running E85 in both of these cars. Oh my goodness, right off the hop, we're making a cool 374 horses. That's a little bit better than I thought, to be honest with you, but it's not enough. A little bit higher RPM limit. And 390 horsepower without a tune, not bad at all. So the 4-cylinder is stuck with single turbo. We can't get any better than that, so there's going to be a lot of tuning to get this thing up another 600 horsepower. It's going to be a lot of tuning. First of all, race preset, hopefully that does something. I'll probably have to come through and change it. We actually lost power, that's not great. 407, uh-oh. Is this going to be enough engine to make 1,000 horses? On push rods, maybe not, but I'm going to give it my all. If it can't be here, then it's going to be maybe a 2.5 liter. It's only 400 horsepower, man. We need more than that. So this is interesting. I changed the engine over here, the quality of the actual block and the internals itself, which is something I did not do on the V8, just for reference. And we shot up to over 700 horsepower. So this slider right here makes a huge difference. I didn't realize it made such a big difference, but it's 0 on the V8. So the answer to making more power is literally just to turn up the boost. Who would have thought if we boost the engine to the absolute 9s, the thing will explode once it reaches a certain RPM limit, which is less than ideal. You can see our torque and power curve are actually pretty close together. Like, it's not making anywhere near as much torque as it did, especially not at the low RPMs, 2000 RPM. We got no torque, we got no power, and that's the way to make big power with a small engine like that. I've had to turn things up like crazy. This thing is going to be tuned to the max. You can already see the turbo is pretty much max size. We're getting big power, big lag. I am currently running 70 psi of boost, and we're still only at 677 horsepower. So before I screw up this thing even further, I'm going to up the displacement to, let's say, 2.5 liters. It's a little bit bigger of a 4-cylinder than I wanted, but I hope that it makes a good enough difference. I want to get that power without having to sacrifice so much drivability. You know, I guess it kind of makes sense to go for a 4-cylinder that's literally half the engine. So we've got another square 4-cylinder, 2.5 liters. It's half the engine of the other thing, so that's pretty much perfect. We're having issues with pistons. Let's just switch back to forged. We don't need super high RPM with this thing, so the lightweight stuff does not even make sense. Currently having a ridiculous amount of valve float, so let's turn those springs and lifters up to stiff. Oh, there we go. Okay, that was probably the issue. Wow, that makes a huge difference. That's too much power. Yikes. So I'm going to turn down the boost because this is just too much. I'm also going to turn down the compressor size and try to get this thing to be at least a little bit more even. Okay, that's 1,000 horsepower at 6,100 RPM with 1,193.2 Newton meters of torque at 5,800 RPM. Basically, I was having a ridiculous exhaust restriction and I didn't realize it, so I was able to fix that, turn down the compressor a lot. We are still running up to 47.86 psi of boost, which is like diesel level, but don't think about that too much. Basically, we have a little bit more body bend than we did before. It's still at like 2,000 RPM, there's not much, but the turbo lag is very, very real on this engine. This is a pushrod 4-cylinder, 2.5 liters, that's making 1,000 horsepower. Let's see how it does in the car. Yeah, I was kind of right though. I pretty much had to wring like everything I could get out of there. Tuning in this game is a lot harder than it used to be, but let's change the color of this car to be a different shade of blue, and now this is the 4-cylinder variant. Let me try not to forget about that. Moving on to the drivetrain, top speed is estimated to be 417. That is so close that I'm just going to leave the gearing exactly the same. The gearing will be the same, the wheels and everything will be exactly how they were. Let's send it. Alright, here we are in beamng. I know the wheels aren't really showing, but the cars definitely are. This is the automation test track, and yeah, I figured this was the perfect place to test these things out. Let's take a look at them first of all. Obviously the car model came in as you would expect, but the differences in noises is quite significant. So here's the V8. Yeah, I like that sound. And here is the 4-cylinder. I don't know, it just doesn't sound as throaty, although it definitely does sound like a Turbo 4, so you get what you pay for. Now, I was going back through the footage a little bit there, just trying to see how the stats worked out in the end, just for my own like mental comparison. And these cars with the V8 and the i4 are like nearly identical. I believe the power and the torque are actually the same, or at least very close to the same, and then pretty much the same peak RPM as well, which is crazy. And it also means that this test is a lot more accurate than I thought it was going to be. We have two engines. One is double the size of the other. Both are single turbo, both are push rods, both are cast, and then both have the same power and the same torque around the same RPM with the same gearing and the same tires and the same chassis and the same car. And it's like the list goes on and on and on. I'm also the same person driving both of them, so you'll have to trust my comparison. Where things get different, though, is power delivery of a V8 versus a four-cylinder, and also weight, because a V8 is going to weigh more. It's just physically larger. It's double the displacement than a four-cylinder. That means there's a lot more weight on the front of the car, which means this car here, which is the V8 variant, you can see it hiding in there, weighs more than the four-cylinder variant, despite being very, very similar in specs otherwise. So that might change the times. That might change things a lot, actually. And I'm very curious to see if that actually makes any difference in something that's already as light as this vehicle. So let's just do a general drive. I haven't actually driven any of them yet. Starting with the V8, let's go for a spin. So first thing I'm going to do is turn this into, let's just go, is there an off mode? I cannot turn off the traction control. My life is over. We can either go sport or comfort. It's a manual, 4-speed, 5-speed, 6-speed. Okay, we got 6 speeds to work with. Starting off in first gear, we are gonna have some wheel spin issues tonight, boys. This is gonna be a wheel spin beast. There's no question about that. I'm gonna try to get over onto the track here and we'll actually do some driving instead of just flipping directly into the skid pad. Maybe this is a good way to transition. Alright, V8 power. You know, I'm a big sucker for V8s. I can't get enough of them. Honestly, V8s are my favorite type of engine these days. Oh, that thing just tried to murder me. Oh my goodness, this is a Viper. I guess I should be thankful for the traction control, even though I don't really want it. I was hoping to be able to avoid it, and yet here we are still flying into the wall. I mean, the chief thing to do is just not be so high up in the RPMs, but driving around the square a little bit, around the dealership, it's fine. I mean, it's so fishtail happy that it's pretty much impossible to drive this thing straight, but that is pretty much to be expected in a car this light with this much horsepower. So the track is actually right here, and looks like I got a little bit of an in as well, so let's jump on and go for a little bit of a lap. We'll do a timed one later, but for now this is just practice. Lord knows I need it, my goodness. Okay, so the way, I guess the path to success with this engine is to probably leave it in like fourth, because it's got power in every possible direction, and then absolutely jam the throttle off the limiter in every respect, listen to my daughter screaming because she's probably hungry, and then continue on anyways. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, I don't think there's any ABS on this car because I'm drifting through the turns. Let's go for the banked curve up here. Oh my goodness, man. Absolutely uncontrollable. Because of my lack of ability to control this car, the lap times are going to suffer more based on control than they are based on engine displacement and requirements and things. The way that the power is delivered in the V8, we just have so much more low-end torque than we do in the i4. It makes a huge difference. At the top end, I mean, it is what it is. Like, they're very similar, right? But bottom end, the V8 definitely still has an advantage. And that's what you get when you get more cylinders. I am flying right now. She's getting squirrely. Oh my goodness. Oh no! Oh, I locked him up. We're gonna have to drift our way out of this one. Just skim the wall and we're good. Boys, put me in NASCAR. I've got the skills already down. Accelerating with this is an absolute nightmare, and I am deathly afraid of it, but I love every second of it. ABS? What is ABS? Come on, who needs it? This car might be too old for ABS. It's a 1960s chassis. Okay, almost done one lap. Come on, we gotta finish this. I'm nervous, boys. I'm nervous. Come on, car. You got this. Remember ages ago when I said I was gonna do a test track thing at the end of the videos? There's a reason that I haven't done that, and it's because it just takes so long to get a good lap with a car. Sometimes it takes me hours, embarrassingly enough. Like cars that are a little bit more reasonable, low-powered stuff with ABS and modern conveniences, it's not that bad. This thing, death trap. Okay, crossing the line with a bit of a damage, nothing serious. Let's crash it into something because that's what I do best. And I can't even manage that now, can I? Okay, turbo 4 time. Let's see how this one does. Again, a lot less low-end torque, a lot more turbo lag, a lot more boost coming through this engine, but it does work as far as I'm aware. Let's take it onto the track. Yeah, I mean, it's driving well. It's definitely... It feels lighter, just immediately off the hop. I know I said that it would be, and the front end especially feels like it turns in a little quicker in the last 2 turns we just did. That being said, it still suffers from similar issues of wheel spin and ridiculous lack of control. I think maybe, oh my goodness, it spins the wheels so hard in 4th. Wow, that is ridiculous. Yeah, no, there's no chance I'm going to be able to use full throttle with a car like this and actually be able to get away with it. I think, I mean, from what I'm experiencing, the launch is way better because I don't have as much low-end grunt, which just basically sends the wheels off into oblivion. But the problem with this car, the way that it's set up, is the turbo lag is so ridiculous that I am spinning the wheels in every single gear because at the top end we just have so much more power. And if we go over that little crest of like where it's got no power to power, it just chirps the tires immediately. Like there is no controlling this thing. It feels darn quick though, and admittedly, even though this track does have a fast section, I mean we just drove through it, it feels a lot better in the slower corners. Like it just feels, I don't know, it feels more controllable, I would say. This is all my subjective opinion on things, obviously. I guess what I'll do, if you're interested, is I'll post these cars in my Discord. I'll post them both, and then you can try them out for yourself and tell me which one you like more. I also just killed the thing, by the way. Starting in 2nd gear is a little bit more difficult for the 4-cylinder. As you can see, though, it hesitates and then it spins. That's it. That's all it does. She's sliding absolutely everywhere. This is gonna be so difficult to get a good time. Oh man, I feel like handling and stuff are probably the main differences. Like if we took it to a drag strip, it would be within tenths of a second. Like it wouldn't make that much of a difference. But handling wise, that's where the big money is. And also crashing them into each other wise. Oh man. Did that even do anything to that car? The answer is yes. So you're probably eager to see something of a comparison, at least a little bit more scientific with some timers and stuff, a little bit more numbers based than I'm telling you that one is faster than the other. If I had to guess right now, I would say that the 4-cylinder is faster purely based on the weight difference and the low speed controllability. But this car is just more ridiculous. I just like how you can just put the throttle down and spin the wheels in every single gear. It's got the ability to do a burnout for pretty much every single second of its existence. Whereas the other car struggles a little bit off the line, at least until... What the heck? The brake lights are on the front? But the other car struggles a little bit off the line, and it can't do stuff like... Okay, that was not good. We can't start in 3rd gear with this car either. But yeah, a little bit more low-end torque here makes a big difference. So naturally, I'm going to take it to the short race test track, which is, yeah, hopefully good. It shouldn't be too crazy. Best time I've gotten on it in my time playing this is 2 minutes 10 seconds. I have no idea when that was. Let's give this a go with a single lap instead of 2. Hopefully, no, we won't do rolling starts. We'll just keep it simple. 1 lap. Let's go for it. Alright, VA car is coming up first. That might be a mistake. I'm going to start in... Oh my goodness, hold on. I'm going to start in sport mode instead of comfort. I think that'll make a big difference. Yeah, there we go. Off the line and immediately into 2nd gear. I'm going to try to keep this as reasonable a lap as I can. putting the same effort into both cars and probably giving it 2 attempts or more. As long as I don't crash, I'm going to keep it going. If it's just down to the lack of my skills, then the lack of my skills applies to both cars, so I don't know. That's fairness in itself, is it not? Oh my goodness, my lack of practice on this course is embarrassing. I've driven it many times before, and my lack of ability with this car is also embarrassing. Oh my goodness, third gear is a nightmare. Let's go fourth. At least we build power a little bit slower in fourth. This one is interesting because if you jump through the trees, it's actually faster. I just remember that from experience. We're not going to jump through the trees today, though. Let's see what kind of time I get right off the hop. This is, I believe, the final corner. Nothing less than third gear in this car because that's just a terrible idea. I'm actually going to go into fifth here and do a bit of a run-up. What's that? 116. Holy smokes. Alright, let's do that one more time and see what I can do. Alright, 116.9 was my fastest time. That last one I had a bit of a spin, but I still managed a 117.4. Let's change the car to the other one, see if I can do better. It's 4-cylinder time. Let's see what I can do. Once again, going into Sport ESC for the sake of not dying. There we go. Okay. I'm going to let it run out a little bit in second gear, but third is really the place to be from what I've found. Wow, okay, never mind. Maybe second place, or second gear with this car with a little bit less torque. This is a scruffy lap immediately. Oh my goodness. This one is hard to keep controlled. Obviously, I'm going to give it another attempt, but for a practice run, this is enough. The turbo lag is incredible in this car. Even though I drove the V8 first, I was hoping to give this one a little bit of a better chance. Obviously, driving it second means I have a little bit more experience on the track. Oh jeez, the engine died. That's such a problem for this engine. I don't really know why. Slow is sometimes fast, at least when it's controlled. I am way not controlled. So I've kind of been treating this car like it has a CVT because I just can't get it to run straight without that idea. Oh my goodness, I can't get it to run straight in a general sense. Come on. We're so darn close. This is such a clean lap. So I'm just going to keep it up for my first actual attempt. We're so close. By leaving the car, or pretending it's a CVT, I mean I've basically been leaving it in second gear. That seems to be its happy place on the track. Third gear for some of the straights. 112. Boys, I don't even need to do a second run. That's good enough. Holy smokes. I'll admit, that was a really clean run. But, wow, that smashed it. 4 seconds. That's insane. So, what did we learn today? Probably that I'm just better when I drive things the second time rather than the first time. But, hey, this has been a pretty interesting experiment. I didn't really get the same outcome that I was thinking of. This car with the 4-cylinder definitely handles better when you can keep the turbo lag under control. The V8 one is just heavy on the front end. Like, the cast iron V8 is definitely a mistake. If we went aluminum V8 with a cast iron 4-cylinder, it would probably even out the differences quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking to make huge power with your Datsun Corvette engine, not a bad idea. Slap one of those in there. Or you could put in a ridiculously tuned and boosted 2.5 liter 4-cylinder and still have a ton of fun. I don't know, man. As soon as you put big turbos on something, it doesn't even matter how fast it is. It just matters how scary it is, and that's what I want to do. Maybe in real life we'll get to that. Yeah, maybe one day. But until then, guys, thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I just wanted to say that I'm selling out of my stickers on my website, and then they're going to be gone forever, so check them out at automotiveflux.com. Also, I have a Patreon if you want to support me. Check me out there, and there's a join button as well on YouTube for those who are interested. And if you're not into that stuff, just watching this video all the way to the end is already done enough. So thank you. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're interested in more stuff like this, and I'll see you guys again next time. More crazy, dumb comparisons coming up next. I just like this stuff. It's a lot of fun, and we're doing a little bit of science too. What did we learn today? Nothing. See you next week. Big thanks to the members who are in the V8 tier of my YouTube support group. That's what I'm calling it now. But we have Overlord, Terrio1, Sinlab, J Pope, Davis Heister, Baja Blast, Goofy Plays, Phoenix Shark, Badger, Mancini Country, Shadow Jasper, and I Look Valheimilk. Thank you for watching this video in this series. I appreciate you guys a lot. And if you have any suggestions for more content coming up in the future, let me know. I'm enjoying automation still. I know, weird, right? But I'm really excited for the new update. I'm hyped up for superchargers and stuff. The track builder and all that I'm not as into, but maybe we'll do a video on it. Maybe I'll try it. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the interest is. See you again soon, guys.